Audible Inc. presents The Wisdom Way of Knowing, Reclaiming an Ancient Tradition to Awaken the Heart, written by Cynthia Bourgeault, narrated by Denice Stradling. Introduction. A wise spiritual teacher I know once overheard several of his students arguing among themselves about how the world had come into being. One believed this, another believed that, a third had a different opinion, a fourth still another. He listened for a while as their debate grew more and more heated, and then finally asked, "Are you sure that you're all talking about the same world?" He asked them all to write down what they meant by the word world, and back came 4 very different definitions. "No wonder you can't agree," he said. "You are all starting from different worlds." Much the same is true when it comes to talking about wisdom. We are all starting from different worlds. The biggest challenge in inviting you into this little book will be that you probably think you already know what I am talking about. The word wisdom has a huge range of meanings in common language and in spiritual language. There is a genetic sort of wisdom that comes with age and experience, and is celebrated in a variety of books on the market today, with wisdom in the title, and lots of heartwarming stories and practical tips for daily living. But I won't be talking about that kind of wisdom exactly. If you're theologically trained, you may think I'm referring to a book in the Old Testament, several books, in fact, that philosophize on the meaning of life and the standards of ethical conduct. Since the word used for wisdom in these texts is the Greek Sophia, a woman's name, and since wisdom is often personified here as feminine, perhaps you will assume that my book joins the ranks of those calling for a greater awareness of the feminine dimension of God. But while this is quite true, it's not what I'm up to here. Again, that's not the wisdom I'm talking about. If you have been walking the path of contemplative prayer and the spiritual traditions of the Christian mystics, you may assume that what I mean by wisdom is something akin to the gift of contemplation, the unitive seeing that comes from many years of meditation and silent retreats. You would probably say that wisdom means to see the oneness of everything, and to open your heart to the mystery that lies beyond words. But even that is not the wisdom I'm talking about. What am I talking about, then? Like the legendary 5 blind men trying to describe an elephant, each of these definitions picks up a piece of the puzzle. But it's the whole elephant I'm really interested in. When I use the term wisdom, I am designating a precise and comprehensive science of spiritual transformation that has existed since the headwaters of the great world religions, and is in fact their common ground. This science includes both theory and practice. The theory part consists of a unified cosmology, in other words, a comprehensive vision of our human purpose and destiny. The practice involves a systematic training for growing into that purpose. How could an ancient cosmology have anything to say to our modern world? That's the astonishing part. The wisdom cosmology is bold, spacious, and remarkably contemporary. In fact, and this is what drew me to it in the first place, it contains some missing pieces that somehow fell out of our Western cultural worldview and are crucially needed as we grapple with the questions of our meaning and accountability in a fragile and overstressed world. There are pieces here that can break down the wall between science and religion, reconcile intellectual freedom with moral integrity, and provide an utterly compelling argument for our global ecological responsibility. Other pieces speak to a more personal longing for meaning and coherence, and help fill in the picture of why the psychotherapeutic mindset of our times and the pursuit of individual wellness and fulfillment so persistently fail to satisfy. You will find the practice part of the wisdom tradition still at the base of all the great world religions. It's remarkable how, no matter which spiritual path you pursue, the nuts and bolts of transformation wind up looking pretty much the same. Surrender, detachment, compassion, forgiveness. Whether you're a Christian, a Buddhist, a Jew,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?